Hi, my name is Rana Hamdani. I am speaking on the affirmative for the implementation of the city income tax in Huntington. I appreciate the opportunity to speak. Huntington's public services can be categorized as lacking by the large portion of those who have driven the pothole-filled streets, complained about the trash, and use the majority of public city facilities. But with the implementation of the city income tax, public services would be greatly improved. This would bring a tremendous amount of revenue to the city. Some definitions I'd like to cover before continuing is city income tax is a tax on incomes of the people that work in the city or receive paychecks from that city. Public services is the supplying of a public commodity to the people. This could include street maintenance and police protection. Water purification is a treatment of water to make it safe for humans to use. Property tax is a tax placed on the personal property of a person. And recreational activities are activities of relaxation and enjoyment. By not implementing this city income tax, Huntington is preventing the city from economic and population expansion. The people will be more likely to move and work in the city because of the improved public services and health services with the implementation of this tax. There would be a significant improvement in public services. The streets would be cleaned on a regular basis. There would be a the fixing of potholes. Traffic lights would be fixed and correctly timed. Streets would be cleared of snow, and the lines would be made visible. The signs would be made visible, and the addition of biking lane would increase public safety and health. A positive change in protection services, like the police and firefighting departments, would increase public safety. And the workforce would also be increased due to higher pay with this implementation of this tax, and the police would probably catch more criminals with the incentive of higher pay, but as said by Lawrence. The maintenance of a sewage system, like water purification and treatment, is important to the people because the prevention of tainted water from reaching the people would be implemented, and clean water would be constantly given to the people. Recreational activities focusing around parks, museums, galleries, the maintenance of historical sites, and bus tours of the city would increase the revenue specifically to that city. Health programs would increase in the city, and public awareness of disease prevention and the education of public for health. There would be property tax relief. Income tax is a more accurate representation of how much a person can pay. There would be an increase in comparison. To property tax with this income tax. The city income tax receives more money than the property tax because it covers a wider base of people. Tax would apply to residents and non-residents. Anybody who works in the city would be taxed, and they would help as commuters. They would help pay for the maintenance of streets. There would be an improvement in local economy and health. More people want to move to a nicer city. Value of land would rise. More people would come for recreational activities. There would be less car problems and less car accidents, which would mean less spending on cars and less visits to the hospital. And there would be an increase in public safety, health, and economy with the use of bike lanes. Thus, with the use of a city income tax, the city of Huntington, West Virginia would be greatly improved in the sector of public services. This would bring more people to the city and increase revenue. Thank you. I now stand for questioning.
Does the government have the right to implement a flat tax on the citizens of Huntington?
Yes, if this tax is going to help the citizens of Huntington.
Does the government need to increase the stress of the citizens of Huntington by implementing a tax? They're not necessarily increasing the stress. They're removing stress with the betterment of public works. Will the low-income families within Huntington suffer from this tax and be not capable of paying it?
No, the city income tax would take into account the low-income families, and the tax would not be so high as to put stress on them.
My name is Munafik Hamdani, and I'm speaking against implementing a flat tax for the citizens of Huntington for a public service upgrade. Implementing a flat income tax would cause stress for the lower income families, destroying houses and jobs. The taxes would cause problems for many citizens who live in the projects in Huntington and don't have a stable job to support their family. A flat tax for public services is very vague. Public services can mean a lot of things. The government is capable of even manipulating the term public services to use this as campaign funds and etc. So if the amount of taxes is going to be considerable enough to cover all of public services, policemen, the streets, sewage, that means it'll cause stress on the lower income families. But if it's not high enough to cause these improvements, that means they'll be taking money that will have an insignificant cause for the taxes. By taking the money, the government cripples the chance of raising a stronger economy for Huntington. Economy is fueled by the citizens who put their money into many businesses and buy supplies and so forth. And if a flat tax is ensued, that means citizens in low-income families will not be capable of paying this. In conclusion, flat tax on the people of Huntington hurts the lower class and prevents West Virginia from forming economically and reaching its potential.
What other taxes would be used to keep maintenance of public services?
Aside from flat tax on income, other taxes would be property tax and sales tax.
Do you feel that why or how would people be negatively affected by this tax?
Excuse me, can you repeat that?
Why or how would people be negatively affected by this tax?
People in low-income families will not be able to pay this tax, considering that they have enough trouble supporting their own family. And the fact that this is a flat tax, the percentage is the same for the rich and the poor, making the poor pay possibly 2.5% or how much ever percent as much as the rich would have to pay.
Well, I would like to point out that the implementation of the city income tax would not be a stress on the lower income families. They would be taken into account, and for those who do not have stable jobs, that would also be taken into account. Property tax does not cover as wide of a base as an income tax, meaning that it would not generate enough revenue, and a property tax is not an accurate representation of how much a person can pay. An income tax is, with the amount of income they have. A property tax, their property can be much better than what they can afford as people who are receiving income. And that's it.
Okay. The problem with this is you mentioned many things that would benefit the city, but the money can only go so far. Claiming that low-income families will not be damaged by the funding, will not be damaged by the taxes, is saying that the money generated is insignificant. If the money generated is insignificant, all the benefits listed previously would not occur. But if the money is significant, meaning it's a higher percentage tax, that makes low-income families and even low middle-class families suffer. The wideness of the topic makes government manipulation easy, a government official could label anything under the title public services and use the money generated by the taxes to benefit his cause, his re-election, anything of that sort.
To conclude this debate, I would like to say that the implementation of a city income tax would benefit the people. It would increase the safety, health, and economy of the city, meaning that less money would be spent by low-income families. Streets would be constantly repaved, the removing of potholes, and health programs would use health programs in the city to increase public awareness of disease prevention, increase the public awareness of disease prevention, and all of this would amount to less money being spent from the lower income families overall. Less trips to the hospital, due to even the sewage system, the maintenance of water purification and treatment, meaning that tainted water would not reach the public. I'd like to thank you for the opportunity for speaking, and this debate is now over.